Okay, all right. So, this is our agenda for today. So we're talking about importing modules, and I think it was with Mr. Badley in the last class. So we had a little introduction to importing modules, but we're going to be doing that properly today. And also after that, we'll be talking about loops. That is how you can repeat a block of code in Python. And trust me, you're going to enjoy that. And also we'll be talking about how you can create your own custom function. So if you want to, like, remember I said a function is like a reusable piece of code, right? So you were able to use print because somebody already, like the developers are in the Python community, because they already wrote the code for us. And when we downloaded Python, it came with Python. But what if the function you want to use does not come with Python? It's not a standard, we call them inbuilt functions. The likes of input, the likes of print, we call them the type, and which other, most of the functions we talk about in the first class, we call them inbuilt functions because they came with Python. But in a scenario where you need to write some functions to do your own bidding, not general bidding. So there's a way you can do that as well. So if time permits us, we should be talking about that. I mean, that should be where we'll be finalizing today's class. But if time doesn't permit, then we'll take it on to the next week. So that about that, we've been using the input function before now. And just again, it says that it allows us to input data after the program has started running. So basically, if you think when you're developing your program, and you think there's an input that can only be decided by the user or during runtime, that's when you use your input. So then, okay, make use of, I'm expecting a variable or a value, but I don't know what that value is yet. The way you get that value is to use your input function. And you can pass a prompt inside it. You can pass a prompt inside it. And one thing you should, yeah, that's what I wanted to say. One thing you should take note of is when you use your input, when you're using your input function, it returns a string value. Let's let's just get started. Instead of having my terminal at this side, I want to have it side by side with my uh editor. So that's what I'm trying to toggle, customize layout. That's into .py. Yeah. So I was talking about the input function, right? I was saying something that when you use your input function, always remember, always know that it returns a string. So let's say you wanted to, you want to get the user's age, and let's call it user age equals to input, enter your age. So the prompt is actually what kind of is like a label that helps the user to know it is where you put the information to let the user know what is expected of them. Yeah. So it says enter your age. And yeah, then after that you can say print you are dash years old. And of course, I'll be using my format. Listen, and I'll be putting user age. Well, so before we print that, I would want us to check for the data type of user underscore age. And what function am I going to use to check for the data type of of an object? What function do you use?
Type function.
Sorry? Can you,
The type function.
okay, the type function. Any contrary opinion? Can you hear me now? Hello?
Can hear you. Sorry. What did you say? What type of
To check for the type of an object in Python, what function do you use? We want to check for the data type. We've been using it before now. Okay, I think someone already said it's type actually. The type function. It's also an inbuilt function. That is, it comes with Python. So it is what you use to check the data type of an object. Like if you check for user age now, we'll be printing the types of objects that user age is. And if we run this, you see, so it says enter your age. And if I put 12 and I press enter, you see, the output you see here is the one is coming from the type of user age, which is telling us that it is a string. So anytime you use your input, always know that it always returns a string. So if you are hoping to now, if what you're expecting is a number and you're hoping to do some mathematical operation on it, you know you cannot do it. I mean, you can't use it like that, right? Please let's unmute our mic so that you can. I said, if you wanted to do a mathematical operation on what the user enters, you cannot do it because of this data type, right? Because it's a string.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because it's a
exactly.
string, so you have to convert it into like an int or a float
yes.
first.
Exactly.
Mm,
So you have to convert it to an integer or float.
mm,
Yeah. And to be on the more safer side, if what you're actually doing is like a calculation or something, it's always advisable to, if the user enters something like 2.0 and the typecasting function you are using is int, is not going to give you the correct answer in the sense that it's going to truncate the decimal part of it away. So please always take note of those those things that may look like a simple, like a simple thing. If you're expecting like a float, or even if you're expecting like an integer, in this case, my age is I'm not looking to do any mathematical operation on age. So it makes sense to just leave it as a string like that. But if I'm looking to what's it called? Do like a mathematical operation, then it will make sense to even just encapsulate this, like convert the whole thing, the whole input, this thing. I can also put it inside the int function.
mm.
Yeah, you can have nested function. You can put a function inside a function.
Okay.
Yeah.
Int.
And let me even do, I mean, you should know this is going to work, but everything like that, let me put it in just one line, in just a line. Everything like that. I'll start from here. I'll start from here. You can have something, it's going to work, but it's not advisable because it's, like, your code will not be, what's it called? Will not be, is it readable? Yeah. If you have to do like a nested operation like this, it's not going to be readable. So that's why it's most times discouraged, but it's still going to work.
Mm. Okay. Int. Okay.
Yeah. So you see what I did? So it's just the same thing, but in just one line. And what I did was I said, you are welcome. In this case, I'm no longer using a variable. I can't use a variable like this. In this scenario now, I can't use a variable now. If I'm going to be using a variable, then I will have to take this outside this. But to make everything more common, I mean, if I need to like put everything in just a line, that means I'm not open to use the inputs, whatever the user input, I'm not open to reuse it again in my program. Because after this point now, I can use whatever the user input. I can use it again in my code because I'm not saving it into a variable. But just to see what I'm saying here, if we run this now, you see, we still have enter your age. And if I put 39 at this point, You still say you are 39 years old. Anybody confused as to why this worked? Is anybody confused, or do you have any question as to why this is working?
I am. Wow.
Okay, so there's no magic there. There's no magic there. If you look at this, let's look at the original one here. Let me remove this type. So what is happening here is that we are saying, let me even remove this since we are not converting anything. But even if we enclose it in hint as well, it will still work. So, but in summary, what is going on is this is like a Python statement, like an operation. And what this operation does is to receive an input from the user.
Okay.
That's the specific task of this particular command, this operation. But that operation, we are storing it in a variable. We are storing it in a variable.
Yeah.
Which is just like this user age is still the same thing as this. And because we could use user age in this position, remember one thing we said about variable. Anywhere a value can work, a variable can also work there. Yeah. So this user age is same thing as this inputs, enter your this thing. So if the variable can work at this position, then definitely the literal value of that variable can also work.
Yes.
Which is why this is working. Are you seeing the trend? So there's no magic anywhere or anything. But just for readability, that was why we had to say, okay, let's assign this to a separate variable. And then we can now take that variable, so that, this one now becomes more like, if you, just like the same way it looks so ambiguous to you now, it will look so complex to people, like it's not that very readable. But when you just have a variable there, you're able to, break it down and say, okay, what you are putting here is actually what the user enters. Did you get that?
Yeah. Yeah, I get it now. Yeah.
Just like the same way we have inside this now, like I said, this you are -years old from our string. Everything here is a string value. This, like, we can call this a message. We can call this a message and just put this message inside the print.
Okay.
That's just like the same logic, the same process.
Okay.
You can have nested functions. You can put a function inside another function. Like you can have a function that takes another function, the output of another function as its own input.
Okay.
Just like we are doing here, the output of the input function is what we are using for our format method. And now we're also now passing the output of the format method on a string. It is what we are passing as an input to the print function. So, but then I won't advise you you write your code like this. It's not readable. So that's why we have a variable, right? So always like kind of to make your code more readable and even understandable to you. So just anywhere you think is okay to use a variable, just use a variable there just to make your code more readable. Yeah. So always note your input always returns a string value. It always returns a string value. And if what you're expecting is an integer or float, you can do typecasting using either int or float. And also, there's a function. I think let me just chip this in. There's a function called eval. It's called eval. So what eval does is if you're expecting a number, be it float or an integer, you can put everything inside eval like this. So eval is going to like evaluate. It means evaluate. So it's going to evaluate them to the right data type. Like in this case now, if the user should enter, let me quickly do this. Type of user H. So what eval is going to do is eval is going to work like a smart typecaster now. You know what a typecaster is? Remember, typecasting is the process of converting from a data type to another, right? So I'm calling this eval as a smart typecaster in the sense that it is able to detect if what the user enter is a float or an integer, and it will assign the right data type to that value. But if you're expecting
Okay.
a string, don't use eval. Don't enclose your input distance inside an eval if you're expecting a string. But if you're expecting a number, you want it to be strictly a number, then you use eval. So let's run this. Enter your age. If I put 23.0, you see,
The float, yeah.
float. If I run it again and I put 20, just 23,
Integer.
integer. So eval is working like a smart agent in this case. So if I write a string, it's going to raise an error actually. Let me just say Gideon. Yeah, name Gideon is not defined. So you only use that, you only use it with an eval when you want it to be strictly a number.
Hmm.
You see now we are now having more functions in our is it Arsenal now? So like that's how you tend to like get to know most of these functions one by one. You know eval now, you know input, you know print, you know type. I mean, as we move on, I'll keep introducing new ones to us. But the important thing is that you're able to like practice with them. I will give us something that will require us to use this also. So don't worry. Yeah, so that is that about the input function. Then for modules, so I think I said something in our very first class. I said a Python script is also called a module. A script, Python file like this, like lesson2.py is a module. Yeah, is a module. It's also called a module. And it is very, in Python, it is possible to import one module to use let's say you have 3 modules. You see, I have Python 2 instructor here, right?
Mhm.
In just this folder alone, I have
Mhm.
a Python file called python2 student handouts.py. I have python2 instructor.py, lesson2.py. So it is possible in Python that if you are developing an application or if you are writing a program and you want to use a function, you've written a code in the past, and it's more like or let me give this scenario. If a user, let's say you build an app, you build something for someone, and another person now came to you and says, I want the same, like something similar to what you've done for this client before, but with some extensions. That is, I want you to add some things to it, some functionalities to it. It won't make sense if you have to write another code for the new client.
That's right.
So it will make sense to just say, okay, let me duplicate the existing code and now create a new Python file and use the functions or the codes that I've written in the other modules and use it again in the new file, in the new, what's it called, module that I'm writing. That's basically ideally how like this thing works, how programming works. You don't reinvent the wheel. You use codes that others have written. You use them. Most of it, and even in that's why I said something about, I told you one time that there's a package in Python that does exactly even more than what Excel can do. That code has
Mhm.
already been written by some developer somewhere. And it will make sense for us to now, if you want to like make a plot, you want to find the mean, find the mode and everything like that. There's a function that does that already, which is just like some codes that some people have written. And those things most of those ones, we call them third-party libraries. I don't know if I'm speaking, if my explanation is becoming vague, but
No,
there are
no, we
some,
hear you.
okay, so there are some modules. Let me say it this way. There are some modules there's like a repository in Python. There's a repository for, if you are developing a module today, If you're writing a program today and you think it's going to be beneficial to a lot of people, like you think it's going to be beneficial to a lot of people, there's a way you can, push it to the community and tell them that, okay, I've developed this thing, review it and see if it's something we really need. And they can make it available for everybody all around the world. So there's something we call package manager, which is basically a code that someone has already written and has made available to the public. How you integrate it in, how add it to your Python installation. So what we used to do that is what we call a package manager. And a package manager for Python, a package manager is what we call pip. PIP.
Okay.
Yeah, pip. It's called a package manager. Basically, how you use it with a command called install. You say pip install, and you're able to import that module. That is that code that has been written by someone else and has been made available to every Python user. So that's how you bring it into your own Python installation, pip install. You run it in your terminal. You run it in your terminal. But that's not even our main this thing for now. What we now want to talk about is how you can, what we have in plan for today is how you can import an existing, the module you yourself you wrote, how you can use it in different scripts in another module. Just the same way I have, let's say I have in this Python instructor, okay, let me do something. Lesson 2, let me create another module and call it lesson 2b.py. Sorry, I put a comma there. Lesson 2b.py. Okay, awesome. So inside this lesson, let me just comment this and declare a variable here. Let's call it my underscore name equals to Gideon. Let's say this is one of the codes I've written in this particular lesson 2b. So like I said, each Python script is called a module. And to use one module in another module, to use one Python file in another file, there's a syntax to it. There are two ways you can do that. So the first one is to use the import keyword. There's a keyword in Python called import. Just like the literal English meaning. Import, when you're importing something, you are bringing something in, right? So we use the import keyword also in Python, and you specify the module name. The module name. What's going to be our module name? I want to import from lesson 2. So what's going to be my module name?
Lesson 2.
Exactly.
Import from lesson 2, right?
Lesson 2, yeah, exactly. So import lesson 2. Now you will not be adding the .py. You just mentioned the name. And this is why I think I also said it in our first session that when you are naming your file, don't put a space.
Yeah, you said that.
Yeah, make it like a best practice not to include a space. If you don't put a space, if you put a space, I think there's a way you can run your code, but it's going to like stress you a lot. So don't put a space. The same rule that applies to how you declare a variable. In a variable, you don't put a space. You don't start with a number, right? So same thing, follow the same thing for when you are naming your Python module. So now to use the Python module, one approach is to say import, then the module name. And now, if I do lesson 2 and dot, remember I declare a variable inside this called my name, right? I can use that variable in this particular script. I can just say print lesson dot my name. And if I save it, let me just save this one. If I save this now, remember I'm running, I mean, you even see it from here. I'm coming. You see, lesson 2b is the file that is being run. And you can see the output here saying Gideon, which is taking a variable I've declared here. So just like this is just a variable. If it's a function, we're talking about function as well, right? So if even what you have in this file is a function, you can also use it in another module. You can call it in another module. and it follows the same the dot notation that you use to call methods. That is the same thing you use. Because this is just this my name is a variable. That is why I don't have any I don't have like parentheses after. Are you following me? Hello?
Yeah.
Is anybody confused?
Let's go over it one more time, please, because this one, oh my, I don't know why.
Okay. So I said a Python
Okay.
file,
Mm-hmm.
a Python script like this, one Python file like this is called a module.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it is possible, Python make it possible for us to use the content of one module inside another module.
Okay.
Yeah. And the way, and when I say the content of one module inside
Okay.
another, I mean, you can use a variable that has been declared in another in another
Okay.
module. You can use it
Okay.
inside another module. And not just a
Mm-hmm.
variable, even if it's a function.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you wrote a custom function in this particular script in lesson two now, you can use that function inside lesson 2B.
Okay.
But in this case now, the example I'm giving here now is I'm just using the variable. I declare the variable inside lesson 2, and I'm using that
Okay.
variable in lesson 2B. And how did I make that possible? I import the module first.
Okay.
And it is also of best practice that if you're going to be importing anything, make it always make it appear in the first few lines of your code.
Okay. In the first few line, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not just I mean not the first two lines. If I show you some of the programs I've written in the past, you see that, or even if you go online and you check anybody's code base, you always see that the first thing you see in most of those programs is always import, import, import.
Mm.
It's just like best practice. If you import it, if I need another module and I import it at this point, it's still going to work. But for best practice and as a tradition in the Python community, not just in Python community, in the programming this thing, it is always advisable to whatever you are going to be using, even if along the line, let's say I'm developing an app and I realized, oh, I need one module. I need to use a module in this a particular line of code. I'll still have to come back to the first line and import that module.
Oh,
So always,
okay.
whatever you are importing, whenever you need to use the import method, always use it in the first few lines. Like always let it be what starts your program.
Okay.
What starts your program? Okay.
Yeah, let it be what begins your program. You have it in the first few lines. Or if you are importing like 10 different modules, then let it be that those import statements contain, I mean, they are put in the first 10 lines of your code.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the first 10 lines. Okay, so let me
Yeah.
try this.
If you're using 10 modules, then
Okay.
write them in, just let them be what starts your program.
Print lesson that my name. Okay.
Yeah. So, and the way after you've imported the module, the way you use the content of that module is to use the dot notation,
Mm.
is to use the dot notation. And that is what I'm doing here now. Same thing, when I was saying something already that everything in Python is an object. You can give this same analogy. You can tell that it is what works for when we say Gideon dots lower. This same logic I'm telling you is what applies. But because this Gideon here, we don't need to import it. We don't need to import it. It's inbuilt in Python. So you
Okay.
can see this Gideon like okay, let me not take us through that route. Let me not take us through that route. I'll start explaining why everything in Python is an object but just like the same scenario, the same logic, this same thing I'm explaining here now, like importing a module and everything, that same logic applies to why this thing works. But maybe once
Mm.
you've reached a certain point, then you understand what I'm saying. But the way you use the content of another module is after you've imported that module, then you use the dot notation to, use the content. Like in this case now, I want to use the variable I've declared in lesson 2. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to call the module name. that I've imported. And you can even use an alias for it. You use the has keyword to put you know what an alias is, right? Let's say the name of the module is too big or is too long. You can use an alias to just say, let's call it ls. And now because I've given it an alias, I can stop using lesson 2 and just say ls dot.
Mm.
But then
Okay.
let's do away with using alias for now. But just know that you can also give it an alias. Yeah, so I'm calling lesson 2 dot my name. And you see, if I hover my mouse over this, it's telling me that this is a variable and it is of the string data type. So Python is smart enough to detect, or I mean, to realize the data type of this thing. And contrary to how you do it in string, how you do methods, if you are calling a method, you have to put a parenthesis, right? But I'm not doing that here because this my name is a variable. I'm not doing that because it's a variable. Let me quickly do something for us. You may not understand what I'm doing now, but let me say, so I'm actually creating a custom variable, a custom function now. So, okay, so I have two things in this, like two main program in this particular module. A function that greets, or let me say, let's change this to hello. Yeah, we have a function that greets, and we have a variable with a name. These are like the two major things in this particular lesson 2 script. Now, if I don't even need to print this one now, I can just say lesson 2 dot hello. You see, hello greeting has been added to it. So
Mm.
if I put hello greeting, this is not complete. You see, if I even over my mouse, you see what it's saying. It's already telling me that this is a function. And because it's a function, so it is just like a similar, what's it called? The way you call your functions and method, you have to put parentheses after.
Mm.
Lesson 2 dot hello greeting, then parentheses. When I was calling just the variable, I never had to put I never had to put parentheses there because it's just a variable. But when you're calling a method or a function or anything, it has to be followed by parentheses. Do we get that? So that's one way of importing. Another way of importing is, let's say I don't want to import the module name itself. I want to import the only thing I need. Let's say the only thing I need from that variable from the lesson 2 module is just the name. This is my name. If that is the only thing I need, you can as well, there's another syntax this is the syntax from, then you specify the module name, then you followed by import whatever you need. Say specific function or variable. So in this case, now I want to use my name. My name is what I'm interested in from lesson 2 module. So I'll say from, what's going to be my module name?
My underscore name.
Following this syntax.
Module name. That will be lesson
Lesson,
2.
lesson 2, followed by
Mhm. Import
specific,
specific function,
yeah,
which
or
is
variable. But in this case, I said I'm only interested in my name.
mhm.
So what am I going to do? Type my underscore name.
Mm.
And let me delete this. And cool. Let me comment this. Let me also comment this. So now I can just say print my name, and it's still
Mm.
going to give me Gideon. You see that?
That's right. Mm.
So that's like the second way of, I mean, the second way you can import a module. Using the
Like,
from, you include the from if you want to pick specifically what you're interested in. You don't want to import the whole module. When I imported the whole module here, I have access to everything inside that module.
oh, okay.
And I'll have to be, that's when I'll have to be, start using the, dot notation. But when you import exactly, I mean, specifically what you need, you don't need to, just the same way you don't need to start using dot notation. In this case, I imported just my name. If I'm also interested in the greeting function, I can just put a comma and say hello greeting. This is a function. But when I'm importing it now, I won't have to put parentheses there. I only have to put parentheses when I'm calling it.
Mm.
Is it becoming too much?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's not talk about function now. You get there first. But I mean, you get the idea of how you can import now, right? That you can use the content of an existing module inside another module.
Oh,
Like, is that clear to everybody?
Yes.
Yeah. So
So
just
just like just to make sure understanding is there. When you're first importing, you don't use parentheses because that's trying to call it. So you first, it's like kind of almost like a variable where you have to first say this is equals this, and then from there later on you can use that. This in the same way.
I don't get what you said.
Like when you import it, that's like almost like the same as the function equivalent of declaring a variable. Then after you import it, or in this analogy, declare a variable, you're able to use it later on by using the parentheses.
Oh yeah, yeah. You can view it that way. Though that's not exactly what's going on, but you can view it that way. Or you can just take it as this. When you are importing, just even if it's a function you are importing, if it's a just a variable you are importing, you just call the name. You import just the name. Do you get that? You import just the
Yeah.
name. You don't put anything. But when you are calling them, that is when you treat them as what they are. Just the same way when you are calling a variable, you just call the name, right? So you use the name just as you've imported it. When you are calling
Mm.
a function, it is expected that you put parentheses there, right? Then when you are calling it, when you want to use it, then you have to put parentheses.
Right.
Yeah. So that is how you go about it. So there are, like I said, there are custom modules, like user-defined modules, which is like an example of what I gave here. And there are built-in modules. There are built-in modules that when we install Python, there are some modules that came with it. Let me comment this. There are some modules that came with Python when we installed it. An example of them is maths.
Mhm.
Maths. We also have another example is date time, which is what we used to like. If you want to like get today's date and everything, like it's what does that for you. We have which other one? Yeah, we have date time, we have time it, we have regular expression and copy. So mostly when after you've understood the fundamentals, what we'll be learning, maybe after our, like in 3 weeks time or so, what we'll be learning basically after we've covered the fundamentals is learning specific modules.
Mm.
And even when you now start, when you start an Python for analytics, what you'll be learning at that point is packages, different modules that are used to do certain things. So mostly you are not writing a very big code when you're doing analysis. What you'll be doing is to be calling functions that has been written by other developers, and you use them on your data. Yeah. So we have so many inbuilt so many inbuilt modules. Like I said, math is one of them, date time is one of them, and time it is another of them. The execution of small blocks of Python code. So you can make some more research on this. You can just type Python time it on Google to see how they use them. But I'll do some examples. I will give us some examples using this date time or even maths. Let's do maths. Let's say we want to do, I think, yeah, square root is possible. Maths dot, maths dot. You see, when I type dot, the list of functions that I can use with it showed up. You can see that, right?
Mm.
You have a course. For people that have this mathematical background, you know what most of these things are. Tan age, a sign, more like what's it called? Course. Like you're looking for a course of a degree, even exponential. What's it called? Exponential. What was it? This one fab. What's the factorial? If you want to do factorial, you want to a lot of things. There are some things I've never even used in this. I mean, so there are some functions I've not used here before. But anything, if you want to find the log, let's say we want to find this is log. I think at this point you have to specify the base. You have to specify, but let's use log 10. I think that's very popular. Log 10 of 100, I know is 2. So let's print that. So I'm expecting to see 2. Yeah, you see 2.0. So if you want to do complex mathematical operations, you can use the math module. And you can, if you do anything you want to do, once you press tar here, you have pylons, which is going to suggest as many functions that you can use with it for you. We have a lot of them, factorial, even sine, product, even square root. Square root. Okay. Let me go into Python. Let me do this.
Let me ask you this, please.
Okay.
When I type in math and dot, I don't see any function that comes after that. What
Okay.
did you
That means
change?
you don't have this extension installed.
Uh,
There's an extension called pylons.
uh,
So you're using Visual Studio, right?
yeah,
Yeah. So you can come to see this icon where I'm hovering my mouse.
yeah,
Yeah, you can click on it and the extension marketplace will show up.
okay.
So you can,
Type in pylons.
yeah, pylons and you install.
Okay. Installing. Okay.
Yeah. So once you install it, it will serve as
Running now.
what's it called? It's going to like suggest a lot of things for you. It will make your programming in Python, it will make it easier for you in Visual Studio Code.
Okay. I think it says it's already installed.
Okay, then
Uninstalled.
you should have it
Maybe you know what?
suggesting.
Let me. Yeah. I haven't. I left it open for a while, so let me restart my studio. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. That's fine.
And make sure you import. If you did not import math, it's not going to come up for you.
Oh, really?
Mm.
So I had to import math then. Let me see.
Oh,
Did
okay.
it? Did it?
To use a module, you have to import it. So
Okay. Pylons.
yeah.
Let me see again. Okay. So, all right. To update. Okay.
So to find the square root, you can use math.sqrt. So sqrt, and inside it you pass square root of 144 should give us 12. So if I run this,
It says I didn't import it. So,
Sure.
okay, isn't that working for you?
no, he said I didn't import math. So let me install it.
You don't have to install math. You just need to import it. It's an inbuilt module. It comes with Python.
How do you import it?
Same thing I showed you, this import.
Just type it.
You type import, then math.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, remember, math is a module.
Got you.
But in this
Okay.
case, it's an inbuilt module, so you have to import it before you can.
Oh, okay. I didn't put that one. That's why. Okay, let me see.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So please, if you're also having if you're having any issues, speak up.
Okay, so I didn't import it. Yeah, you're right. Import math. All right, got you.
Okay, all right. So you see now I'm trying to print the square root of 144, and we got 12,
Yep,
which is
got it.
very correct. So you can try it out. Maybe after this, you can try out different. You can even bring out your mathematics, textbook to see some of the functions that has already been written that you can apply to solve problems. And also, let's move on to date time. So if you're writing a program that requires you to get today's time, so we have a date time module it has a lot of things that you can do with it. You can, and for every module, let me also point this out. I'm sharing my whole screen, right?
Yes.
Okay. For every module, there's always a documentation. You see, when I type datetime, you see something like datetime module in Python. So if you press enter, there's always an official documentation for them. So let's say you want to know, that's how even the developers in Google, developers in NASA, if a module comes out today, of course, just like I said, it is someone that wrote those code and made it available to the public. And most of the time, you are not always in their mind. You don't know what they had in mind when they were writing the code. So to understand their mind, to understand how you can use what they've written, they always make available a documentation. So even the math, this is for date time. And if you click on it, most of the time you see, it says date time, basic date and time types. The datetime module supply classes for manipulating dates and times. So almost anything you can do with your dates, anything you can think of that you think you want to do to your date and time, this module has the capability to do it. Anything, I can assure you that. So then you can see some more information. There's also a calendar module. There's also a time module, which I've not used before, because this date time is sufficient for everything I want to do with date and time. If you want to get to this date, it automatically detects your time zone, gives you the time, and everything like that. So it works with your system to check what time zone you are in. If I check, let's do this. Let's do this experiment. So inside the daytime, there's the daytime module. There's let me call it, is a function, daytime dot date time dot now. I don't want to explain why we have too many dots, but just know that if you want to get to this date, this is how you do it. This is how you do it. And if I do this now, if I print, you can also run this on your system after you've imported datetime. Print datetime dot now. And you see what it gives me here? Saying I'm already it's already 11th of July here. So I will expect that you have 10th of July at your own end. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. So it detects your time zone. It has a way of this datetime that we are using, this datetime module. Let me show us something. It's a code. Not like this is just coming from the internet or anything. You don't need the internet to use this module. Let me show us if you can come in. So when you install Python on your system, a folder is always created there's always a folder. I'm coming. Update our local. Okay, let me quickly do something. Okay. So I'm just trying to see where I have my Python installed. And let me uh, I want to show us where that module particular that datetime module, where it is in particular on your system. It's a module, it's a Python file on your system. But it came when we install Python on our system. That is why we're able to import it. Python. Maybe because of the way okay, let me do this. Okay. Search for include. No. Sorry, please. I don't want to give up till I buy arrow in code editing. Oh. So the reason why I can't find it easily is because of the way I install Python on my system. So, but if you can find where Python is installed on your system, the paths to that, and you click on this include, or not even include, I think it's libs. I'm coming. Yeah, if you come to lib here, or is it not like it used to be something like asset packages. Yeah, don't mind me. Inside your Python is if you come to lib, inside site packages, you always find all the packages or all the modules that has been written. All the modules and the packages that has been written. This is the date time. I'm coming. Date util. There should be the date time, this thing here. It's not supposed to be here. Search packages, lib, I'm coming. Oh, I don't know why this is not showing. But if you're able to, this is actually like like an isolated Python environment. It's not my general Python this thing. So, but if you come to site packages, you see most of the packages that you have installed on your system. Like this BS4 is a package. Like it's a code that has been written by someone else and I installed on my Python environment here. And there's another one, DBT, even Google, and a lot of them like that. So what I wanted to show is just that these things you are importing, like all these packages are modules we are importing, they reside on your system. So you don't need an internet to use them. They reside on these ones are inbuilt modules, so they reside on your system. And I mean, this is just one of the ways you can use the datetime module. If you want to check today's date, you can use datetime.datetime.now. So this is one way you can, import this. You can use this now function. Which other way do you think I can import it? Say I want to avoid having these too many dot notation. Which other way do you think I can import it?
Say that again.
Which other method would you propose? If I don't want to have, I mean, this is becoming too long. You're having to say datetime.datetime.now. So what I want, if I just want to use the now function, how else do you think I can import it? Remember the from approach. I can say from date time, import date time. So what I'm basically doing here is inside this datetime module or package, you can call this one package now, import this datetime for me. And now I can do away with the first datetime here. So I can now call this datetime here dot now. Or even if I want to, let's say if I want to just use the now function, I just want to import the now function. I can just say from datetime dot datetime. Does that work? From datetime dot. It's not working. Okay, let me see. Okay, is it going to work? Is it going? Okay, datetime is not a model. The reason why this is not working is because this datetime is. Maybe if I see the code, if I can get the code, then I will understand why this is not working. But it's probably just because it doesn't follow the rule of module function of a thing. It's not like this date time. It's not like a what's it called? This particular date time. What I'm suspecting is this particular date time is a folder, because this can also instead of, let me calm down and explain this. If you look at, I don't know if this is going outside the scope of what we have in plan, but let's say I have another folder here. I'm coming. This is the folder where we are working now. Why I'm thinking that is not working is because let's call it FOD1. FOD1 and sorry. Let me move my lesson 2 into this FOD1 folder. Yeah. So I have it inside. I move the lesson 2. I move it inside the FOD folder. So if I do import again, if I try to import lesson 2 again, it's going to raise an error. Are you following, please?
Yes.
Okay. I move the lesson 2 folder into, the lesson 2 module. I move it into a folder called FOD1. So it is no longer in the same directory as lesson 2B. So I'm not able to import them. I'm not able to import lesson 2 now. To be able to import lesson 2B, then I have to put the path, like say FOD1 dot
Lesson 2, okay.
FOD1 dot lesson 2. You see, there's no error now. It works fine. Then I can give it an alias and just say it ls. Or I can as well just say from FOD1 import lesson 2.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was the same approach I wanted to use for this, but I don't think it follows. It's not like this datetime is inside a folder. Or sorry, don't mind me. So what I'm saying is, yeah, that's actually what's going on. So I think like this datetime is like a folder where there is this datetime module.
Very sensitive.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what's going on. So this datetime is not a module directly. It's like a folder now. And this datetime is if I do datetime dot, it can just be the same with datetime dot I say import datetime dot datetime. If it works, then that means the first datetime there is a module. Or is a okay, it doesn't work. Then that means this datetime is not a folder either. But let's not bother ourselves with all this. Let's not bother ourselves. Just focus on how you can use the datetime module. How you can use the datetime module and Let's call this datetime dot datetime. Forget about why we had to use so many dot datetime now. Just know this particular command. If you want to check today's date, you use the datetime dot now. And let's say let's assign that to a variable, and we say today equals to
Print daytime and
equals
print
to
today.
sorry?
Mhm.
Yeah.
No. And then here,
Yeah. So let's say we do that. If we want to let's say we want to go back a day, I want to go a day backward. Like we want to move back 24 hours. We want to know what yes, we want to do yesterday.
Mhm.
So we can do this and say this is just how you go about its number of, or let me call it end days. Let me say end days equals to, there's something called, there's what's it called, there's a time delta function, which takes the number of it takes so many arguments. If you're looking at this, if you're looking at documentation here, it takes a day as you can specify a day, an hour, even a minute, or any minutes and seconds. But because what I want to do is I want to what's it called? I don't have to specify a day. I want to go back a step backward. So I'm creating, but sorry, please. I'm finding it hard to find some words. Remember what I said we want to do is we want to calculate yesterday. We want to calculate yesterday. There's no I don't think there's no function to get the date of yesterday, the dates of yesterday. But to do that, we can ask the datetime module to go a step backward in today's date. To go a day backward in today's date. And to do that, we want to tell it to say, okay, we want to create a day. Or I don't know if I'm really making sense with this explanation that I'm giving. But maybe after I'm done, you understand what I'm saying. So yesterday, let me say yesterday date equals today minus, let me call this 1 day. Today minus 1 day. And if I print yesterday, you see what we're going to have. 10/7. Remember, let me also print today so that we know that this is correct. Let me say today. Yesterday, let me call these. Yeah, so if I run this, you see, today's date is 11/7/2025. This is the time. And yesterday, because you see, the time is still the same thing and everything, because I'm just going 1 day backward, like exactly 24 hours backward. So that is why it's able to get the same time for me and it was able to return yesterday's date. So if you want to create like an object of a day object, I don't know how else I can explain this. If you're trying to, you want to let Python understand, what's it called? Let's say you want to pass a value, like a day value. In this case, not a string, not an integer or something, but to a day, like 24 hours. You want to do something you can consider this as like another data type. You can consider it as another data type. So if you want to like do any manipulation that has to do with dates, in this case, say 1 day or a day and 2 hours, something like that. A day and 2 hours is going to be like 28 hours. Something like, if you want to create a value like that, you can use the time delta function. I can also specify minutes. Yeah. I can also specify minutes. Let's say 30 minutes. I really hope you're good. So if I do this now and I calculate and I run this, so I asked it to go back 24 hours and 30 minutes. That is 1 day and 30 minutes. So if you look at the time now, for yesterday, you see, instead of the time being, this is 2:12, it's returning 1:42. And the date is now 10/7, which means it has gone back 24 hours and 30 minutes. Is it confusing? I'll give us an exercise that will require something like this, or maybe time is almost up. And then in our next thing, I'll give us like a program. We'll do a program. We'll do a program that will even elaborate more on this. But no, just if this is the only thing you can take away, just know that for time, if to do time manipulation, daytime manipulation, there's a function, there's a module that allows that in Python. A lot of things, you can do a lot of things with it. You can do a lot of things with it. That's just one thing. If you also want to convert a string to a date time object, say you ask someone to enter a date and they wrote 2024. This is a year, right? And what follows is a month. Let's say they say 06 and the date is say 23. This is a string. This is a string. Python cannot see this as a date time. But there's a way you if you want to put it to Python as a date, then you need to convert it to the date time data type. And the module you use to do that is this date time module. To do this exactly now, to do this, what I just explained, this is a string. Python cannot do anything that has to do with timing, cannot see it as a time or as a date time. To make Python see it as a date time, there's a function like that as well inside the datetime module called str format. I think I'm coming datetime dots. I'm coming. Yeah, I think datetime dot datetime then dot str. Yeah, exactly. strf time. And inside it, you specify your format. So if you check the module, I think it's inside. Yeah, exactly. So these are the character code. This is exactly what this is used for. Like all these things you see here. So let's say we ask the user to enter a date and they enter it this way. How do you make Python to understand that, okay, the first thing here, like this is the format. This format is known as what's it called? YYY hyphen DD hyphen 23DD. Like, the way they do this, date formatting, right? So how do you make Python to understand that this is the format this date is coming from? And it should be able to treat it as a date. So you use all these character codes to do that. Let's say let me call this date str. So if I want to convert it I want Python to see it as a date in the right format, in the exact format it is coming from, in the exact format, I'll use this string f time, string format time, like string, more like a string to time, basically. That's what it converts string to your date time object. I'll put the first argument is going to be the date time string object itself, and then the format. So inside that format, if you look at all these things there, there was one that says, there's one that specifies the year. Yeah, you see, this %y. These are like the code, and these are the things you must know. But if you need to do them, for me, the one I only know is, I don't know all of them. I don't know all of these codes. So if I need to use them, like I said, if I need to use datetime today, I will first have to read the documentation. Except for some of now, every now and then I use this now function almost in most of my codes. So the ones you use often, those are the ones you remember. The ones you don't use often, if you need to use them, you have to read the documentation again. or just put it to Google, like, how can I do this? And you see it. So it's not like as if you have to memorize all these things. But this one, I feel this one is very straightforward. To tell Python that this is the format of this date string, I have to put %y to say you see, this particular says returns the year in 4-digit format. Of course, this year is in 4-digit format. So I'm saying the first thing in this string is going to be year in 4-digit format. Then followed by the hyphen. We have the date as 2 digits. So we'll look for one that specifies date as 2 digits. If you see it, you can tell me. The day.
What about D? Is it return day of the month from
Okay.
1 to
You see this?
31?
Return days of the month from 1 to 31. Awesome. So %D. That means this is going to be 06 is month, not date.
Yeah. So okay,
06
let's
is
go
month.
back there.
So it should be, this one says returns
Month,
one
yes,
month
M.
as a number from 01 to
M.
%M. So that means it's going to be %M.
%M.
Then hyphen.
Dash. Oh yeah.
Dash, then
And then the date. %date. Okay.
Yeah. So
So
now,
then the above line should be like after the year should be MM. You see DD. No, not here. In the code. The above line Y. Yeah, here should be
okay.
marked.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Okay.
So with this now, we've converted this date string. We can now call it, let's call it, let me call it my birth date. Like say birth date. Now this birth date, which was, let me also call this birth_date, but as a string. So this birth date now has been converted to the date time data type. That is Python now, let's print it. Python now sees it as a date. And we can do it, of course, for a data type that are in Python mostly, for a specific data type, that are, what's it called? Certain operations that can be done on those data type. So now that Python sees this as a date, then you can do any manipulation you can do for a date, you can do it on it. If you want to subtract 10 years from it, you can do it on it now. But when it was just a string, you won't be able to do that. Let's print this to see what we have. Or let's even check. Okay, let me also do this. Let's print the type. Did I do? Okay. Let's do the type and call it birth date. Sorry, the type. And also I'll be printing the type after I've done the conversion. Just birth date. Okay. All right, so let's run it. Let me clear my terminal so that we can see it clearly. There's an error. String ftime for datetime.date object doesn't apply to a string. Why is that? Okay, I think I'm using the wrong method. Save datetime. I think it should be something. It should be p time, not. Oh yeah, sorry. I apologize, please. It should be string p time, not string f time. I think f time does the opposite also. I think f time does the opposite, but string p time is the one that does the conversion from string to time. Are we getting that? So I could have known from the documentation. You see, the first argument is the date in string, then you specify the comment as the second argument. So if I run this now, yeah, I see. First, the data type is str, string. And now when we converted it to datetime, we printed it to see it has even added the hour, minute, and second part to it. So that means it is now seeing it as a datetime object, which is confirmed by this, by the output of the type that we printed. Now it is, we have it as a date now. Then we can now do manipulation like say, if I say, how this thing will I be, how old will I be? We want to calculate my age, for instance. Once calculate my age, you can do that. You can subtract it from, let's say, today. Let's see how it works. Let's subtract today's date from my birth date to see. Let me just print birth date minus today's date. Birthday today, yeah, minus today. So you can do subtraction of date as well, just like it's going to give, but the output is going to be in dates.
Should, if I'm understanding this correctly, should you do today minus birth date? Because it won't be negative if you do it the other way around.
Yeah, let's see. It should give negative. It should give negative. Okay, see, minus 384 days. Yeah, okay. My birth date is 2024. Yeah. So yeah, it gives a negative. So if I turn it around and say minus, it should give us positive now. So it's going to, when you do negative like of date, when you do subtraction of dates of two dates objects, the response is going to, the output is going to be in days and hours and time like that. You see, like you have it here. So let's change this to 1995. Let's change this to 1995 and let's run it now. Today minus, you see, the difference between today's date and my birth date is 109.76 days and everything. So from this, we can, I think there's also, let's call it, what's it called? Days old. Let me call it days old. The number of days, my age in days. That is what is going to return. But I think it should also be possible to say days old dot. Yeah. So I'm doing some more manipulation. You see what I'm trying to do here. So the result of my subtraction, I just want to get the days part of it. Like the number of days there, I just want to get that part alone. Because when the result of this shows is going to give you the number of, the difference in days, hours, minutes, even in microseconds. So you can get each component separately like that. Now, the way you get each component separately is to now call from, after you store the results in let's say in a variable, you can use, there's a, like a variable inside the module, deep inside the module called days. And when you call that days, it's going to return the day part of this date for you. So if I print this now, you see what I'm talking about. If this look overwhelming to you, don't worry. Like this is, but I think the ones I'm showing you here are like things that you likely encounter on a daily basis when you're writing your program. There are so many things you can do with datetime. Most of them you don't use them often. So the way you know, when the problem arises, you just know, okay, since you know you already have a datetime module, then you make some research and see how you can use that datetime module to solve that problem. I'm able to like tell you all this now because I've had to use it in the past. I even see that I made some mistake. So it's not like as if like you have to memorize all these things. The important thing is that you know you have modules like that do something like this. And I will ensure to give you some exercises that will require you to do some of these things. Maybe you have to rewatch the video or do some research online to further master this. But let's go on to see what this is going to give us. You see, it returns the number part of it. So now if I want to convert this to, just to see how, how programs get bigger, now I've gotten the days part of it. If I want to calculate my age in years, I can just say my age YRS. What do you think I'm going to do? I've already gotten the number of days, my age in days. So how do you think I can get my age in years? We have 2 minutes to the end of the session. Hello?
To find your age in years, you have your age in days, right?
Yeah, I already have my age in days.
Okay.
I mean, this is just mathematics now. It's not even anything.
Yeah.
It doesn't have anything to do with programming. So I just need to like divide it with 365.
That's all. Yeah.
365
365 to
days
find
make a
it
year,
in.
right? So
Yeah.
to get my age in years, I just need to divide it in. But there's one thing I'm not sure of. I'm not sure if this the days my how old I am in days. I'm not sure if it's in numbers, but I expected it to be in numbers.
Mm-hmm.
I expect it to be in numbers. But if there's an error that it is not a number, then I mean I'll have to do the typecasting, right? Uh what did I what happened? Oh, okay. Days old. Well, this is even funny. The number is also in days. I mean what was it called? The value. I think one thing
Mm-hmm.
I should have done is to say type. Oh, sorry. Oh, what did I do? Days old dot, the mistake I made was date old dot days divided by 365. Sorry, I think that was the mistake I made. Remember, days old is what gives us this, like it's the
Mm-hmm.
difference between today and my birth date. Let me print it out so that we see what I'm saying. Sorry if this looks somehow confusing. This is going to return something in this format. That is the difference between my birth date and today's date. And after that, I said you can call the days variable to get the exact number of days. And it is that exact number of days that you divide by 365 to get the years. So name of age in years this should give us something like 30 years or something. 30. Yeah, so we have 30.07123. But these are just like the manipulations you can do. You can do by next class we'll have a more structured like example to follow. I feel like this may look somehow ambiguous or something. But in the next class, we would have a more structured example to something you can also follow. But I feel like this also like does some bit of an explanation. Maybe when you rewatch the video, you get it even better. So, but
Okay.
that's just that about the daytime module. By next class, we'll still do some more examples. But you can do a lot of manipulations, and you know when this thing comes in handy now. You don't necessarily need to like master all of them. Just know the ones like the MM, the percent %y used to return 4-digit formats. And also maybe as part of your exercise also, you can make research on ways you can use the daytime module. Like look for some more examples of how they've used daytime module to see, or think of a program that may require you to use a date to do some date manipulation or anything like that. One of them is calculating age, just like I've done here. And the way I've done that is, I subtracted today's date from my birth date. And how did I create my birth date? I created my birth date as a string. Then I converted that string to date. I want Python to see it as a date data type, as a date time object. And I did that using this code, datetime strip, str p time. I don't really know what it means, but I think it has like one very simple meaning like that. So, but this is like the function that does the conversion of string to datetime objects. And after I've converted my birth date to datetime, then I can now start doing some datetime and operations on it, like subtracting date, adding two dates together, trying to see the difference. And mathematically, if I want to calculate my age, I will have to subtract today's date from my birth year from today's date, which is same thing I did here. But then when you do subtraction of two datetime objects, two dates time, it's going to give you the difference in days. And of course, my age is supposed to be in years. So after we've gotten it in days, then it will return it in this particular, like something like this. It will give you the number of days, comma, the hour, the minutes, then the seconds, then even the microseconds. So to get the date part of it, the number of days part of it, you use the days, what's it called? You use the days variable, which is like, what's it called? Which comes as part of, what's it called? It's still part of your datetime object, like the properties of a datetime object. So even if it's if what we are looking to get, to extract is the hours, you can just do dot hours. I think, yeah. Daytimes O dots. Once you put dot, you can even see a lot of things that are possible. We have days, okay, minutes. There should be hours. I don't know why hours is not. Resolution seconds. Okay, but then we can also get the minutes part of things. Okay, maybe when we get the minute, it's going to convert both the hours and minutes all together. So, but those are just like the things you can do with date time. There are a lot of them, a whole lot of them. So I'll try to give us an example or like an exercise that would like that will give like a coordinated use of this particular date time. But the main takeaway should be how you import modules in Python, which I believe you know now, using the from approach or just simply importing the module and calling the functions or whatever variables you have inside. So that's going to be the end for this. By next class, we'll be doing more examples on datetime, and also we'll be moving on to loop. So is there any question? Sorry. Any question or any comments?
Yeah, not from me. I might have to go over the video over and over.
Yes, same thing with me too. I would definitely need to go over the video,
Okay.
take my time to understand it more, and then do some research on YouTube or Google.
Okay.
Yeah, but
And
this
don't beat yourself up. By next class, I think maybe I would be more prepared. I will have some structured examples,
okay.
some more structured examples to give. But if it's possible, if time permits you to make some more research on the datetime module,
Okay.
then you can as well do that. But the
I can
main
do it
takeaway
for-
from here is just knowing how to import a module.
Okay.
Mm.
That is the
After
main
for the
takeaway,
module.
knowing how to import a module and knowing that there are so many modules that you can import.
Okay.
Yeah, so many modules that you can import. So later there are even more, most of the time, what you'll be using is, like I said, what you'll be learning mostly is how to use a module. And datetime is just the least part of the modules you'll be learning how to use. So
Okay.
it's good just that you know it so that you know how you can, use other modules. So by next class, you will starting with for loop, and I believe you're going to enjoy that better because those are the part
Okay.
of the Python fundamentals.
All right.
Okay.
Sounds great.
So I will upload, I'm working on another exercise that will help you master what's it called, string manipulation. So everything I
Okay.
included there is everything we've done.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's everything we've done. So make sure you don't try to think outside. Don't beat yourself up or anything. Whatever you encounter in that problem, in that exercise, is everything we've taught in class.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll do this. I
So
think we'll be good with that. Thank you.
Yeah, all right. All right.
Thank you, Professor.
All right. Good night, bro.
Welcome. So have a wonderful evening.